Welcome to Coffee Recipes by Baked, Brewed, Beautiful. I'm Cheyenne, and today we'll be talking about coffee and food pairings. I'll be going over 5 best practices when it comes to pairing coffee with food, and I'll share 5 examples to help you apply those principles when you're trying to pair yourself at home. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start off by going over the 5 best practices for food and coffee pairing. Just like cheese and wine pairing, there's sort of a similar art in pairing coffee with certain foods to bring out the best flavors in each. So the first best practice I have to share today is like goes with like. So think like flavor profiles when I say like goes with like. For instance, today I have an orange marmalade with crackers. That's a fruit-based dessert or fruit-based snack. And that would pair really well with, naturally, a fruit-based coffee. Think anything with blueberry tasting notes, strawberry tasting notes, tangerine tasting notes, anything that's really bright. This generally would be a light roast coffee. Coffees that are well suited to light roast would be anything from Africa in general. Think Ethiopia, Kenya, Burundi. Those sorts of places create really bright and fruity coffees. The second best food and coffee pairing practice I have today is try to level out the intensities of your food and your coffee. What I mean by intensity is just the complexity of flavors in either the food or the coffee. Now, there are some light roast coffees in particular that are incredibly intense, such as this fruit coffee that I mentioned earlier. A Kenyan coffee would be very, very fruit forward. It would be very bright and it could stand alone, like I had mentioned. So that would be something that's considered intense in the realm of coffee. You would want to try to balance that out by grabbing a food that's not as flavor intense, such as a shortbread cookie, a sugar cookie, even a plain donut would really do well with some sort of fruity or very intense coffee. Oppositely, if you have a really intense dessert, such as like a lemon meringue pie, tiramisu, those are very rich and flavor forward desserts. So you'd want to pair something more neutral, such as a medium roast, that's not as flavor complex when you're pairing. So today, instead of pairing my fruity coffee with a really intense dessert, I'm actually just going to pair it with egg whites. So the neutrality of the egg whites kind of balances out that intensity of that really fruit-forward coffee. The next food and coffee pairing practice I want you to consider is the texture of your food. Is your food more crumbly, such as a biscotto or a scone? And those do really well with hot coffees because you can dip them and therefore make them soft. To demonstrate that today, I have shortbread cookies that I made, and I recommend pairing that with a pour-over coffee because it's hot. And I'm actually going to pour that. Now, if you don't care, this principle might not really apply. It's just to add more depth and more interest to your food and coffee pairing. The fourth food and coffee pairing practice I have for you today is to think about the temperature. That's the temperature of your food and the temperature of your coffee. Now, this is more of a preference thing. Do you like to have cold with cold, or do you prefer something that's more contrasting, such as a cold dessert with a warm coffee? To demonstrate that for you today, I do have some vanilla ice cream that I made just a few nights ago. Super good. And since it is cold and I prefer that contrast of flavors and temperatures in my mouth, I would recommend going with a pour-over, with a hot latte, with an espresso, something along those lines, just to create that contrast. Our fifth food and coffee pairing practice, and our final, is to consider using complementary flavors when you're pairing food and coffee. So that's just like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You have that sweet and salty combination, and it just works so well. And you could similarly even use that when you're pairing food with coffee. If you have like a berry coffee like we had earlier with a more nutty or salty food to go on the side. So today I do have bananas, and bananas tend to pair well with chocolate. So I'd recommend pairing your bananas with a chocolatey coffee, such as this one. Today I have a dark roast, and dark roasts tend to be a little bit more nutty, a little more chocolatey in their flavor profile. and that's what I have today, which is a single origin from Nicaragua. And that is all I have for you. Those are the 5 best food and coffee pairing practices. If you'd like to have those written out for you, I have a PDF that lists them all out. It's a food and coffee pairing guide. And I also have a food and coffee pairing chart that lists dozens and dozens of food and coffee pairings to help you get started at home. And those are all available down below. Go ahead and grab those at bakedbrewedbeautiful.com/food and coffee. The last thing I want to leave you with is just figure out what you like best. Food and coffee pairing really is a preference thing, and you have to kind of experiment to figure out what you like. These are just principles to get you started and to help you kind of get a sense for what usually works for people, but it might not necessarily work for you, so you have to do some taste testing on your own, and I wish you the best of luck. Please let me know what your favorite food and coffee pairings are down below. Give me a comment, and that's all I have for you. Good luck, happy pairing, and happy brewing.